A major drug bust.
In the largest cocaine seizure in the history of the Anne Arundel County Police Department.
The staggering amount of guns and drugs recovered. Threats of arrests as protesters block BGE work zones. Why community members are pushing back against the utility company. Former Police Commissioner Harrison is out but still on the payroll. Why your tax dollars continue to pay his salary and the questions that remain about his departure.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 4.
Breaking news in the search for that missing passenger sub. Searchers say they have found debris near the ruins of the Titanic from that missing submersible and believe all 5 passengers are dead. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Maxine Stryker in for Kai. The news comes as that critical 96-hour mark passes for oxygen to run out on the vessel.
And here is the latest. The Coast Guard confirming moments ago it appears the craft imploded.
Crews also found the tail cone of the Titan submersible roughly 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the sea floor. Once they found the pressure chamber and other debris, they immediately notified the families of those on board.
In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families.
Aboard the sub were 5 people, including the CEO of OceanGate, which is the company that was leading the voyage. There was also a French researcher known as Mr. Titanic, who's been to the wreck more than 36 times.
The vessel also had an aviation company chairman and a Pakistani businessman and his teenage son. Stay with Fox 45 News for continuing coverage. More on the search at 4:30, and we'll have the very latest developments at foxbaltimore.com.
That's what I think that they're waiting for, is for us to just stand down and be exhausted. And unfortunately for them, we're in this for the long haul.
An all-day standoff in Federal Hill is heating up tonight. A group of city residents intentionally blocking BGE contractors from doing utility work.
The demonstrators say 4 homes had their gas shut off yesterday as some homeowners refused to let BGE install external gas regulators.
Fox 45's Amy Simpson is live in Federal Hill as some of these protesters say they're willing to be put in handcuffs over this.
Yeah, Maxine, Mary, just to give you a sense of where we are, that's the Inner Harbor behind me. This is Fed Hill Park, and this is Warren Ave. This is where that standoff has been taking place all day. It appears right now police officials from Baltimore Police Department are backing down a paddy wagon closer to where these demonstrators have been parked. All day, this group of residents said they were informed they could be arrested if they do not move and allow these contractors to do their work. About a dozen utility workers have been standing nearby all day, appearing to wait for the green light to start working. And at the center of this standoff is those external gas meters that BGE is installing across the city. These residents say the external regulators are unnecessary. They allege that BGE is trying to raise utility rates by claiming these are infrastructure investments. And the residents believe BGE's threats to cut off gas service are illegal.
I've been a long-time resident of Federal Hill, and quite honestly, I've never seen anything like it. I feel like I'm being personally threatened because I'm on the next block that they're going to do.
BG&E knows that we're in the process of preparing an emergency action. This should be resolved by the courts. That's the way you're supposed to do this. We shouldn't have cops out here mediating a conflict between utility workers and residents.
Well, as you can see, this is quite a fluid situation here in Federal Hill this afternoon. The group says it's planning to file suit as soon as possible, asking for a temporary restraining order to halt this utility work. At least 2 of the people here protesting did tell me they are willing to be arrested if things escalate to that point.
Amy, I know all about this. My neighborhood just had this happen, and we're going through it right now. Do you know how BGE is responding to this public demonstration today?
Well, Mary, they did provide a lengthy statement this afternoon. The company is saying that these external regulators are part of upgrades to modernize its gas infrastructure and improve safety of gas delivery to its customers. But BGE also said in part today, quote, residents interfered with our scheduled work in Federal Hill by purposefully entering an active work site. This action put our contractors at risk of injury. We safely stopped work to allow the proper authorities to intervene and will continue our work when it is safe to do so. Again, it does appear that Baltimore police have just backed a paddy wagon down Warren Ave here just outside of Federal Hill Park. We are monitoring this very fluid situation. We will report back throughout the shows as things change here in Federal Hill. Guys, back to you.
We cannot discuss someone's personnel things in the public.
We have new information tonight as Fox 45 News learns former police commissioner Michael Harrison is out of office but remains on the city's payroll. The mayor confirming today, despite Harrison's sudden departure, his $275,000 salary remains intact. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor joins us now live from City Hall demanding accountability for your tax dollars. Rebecca?
Yeah, Maxine, we now know that your tax dollars are still paying Harrison's salary. But when asked just how long city residents will have to foot the bill for a former city employee, Mayor Scott remained tight-lipped. Take a listen.
His salary is something that's public information.
But so will he be paid till the end of his contract?
He will be paid in accordance with the contract and how he's leaving the city of Baltimore. We cannot discuss a personnel matter in public about someone's contract, and we cannot do that. It's an HR issue.
Well, according to Harrison's contract, if Harrison's fired without just cause, the city will pay the remaining 8 months of his 5-year contract, totaling about $180,000 taxpayer dollars. But if Harrison resigns, he's required to give 90 days notice and is not entitled to severance pay. Now, with that in mind, I also asked Mayor Scott to disclose the exact terms of Harrison's agreement. Stay with us for a full story coming up at 5. I'll give you his response. But for now, reporting live from City Hall, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Well, don't miss our next Your Voice, Your Future town hall tonight at 7. Armstrong Williams sits down with former Mayor Sheila Dixon to discuss the state of Baltimore City and how to fix what's broken. It's live tonight at 7 on FoxBaltimore.com. You can also watch it right here this Saturday night at 6 on the CW Baltimore, Saturday at 3, and on MyTV Sunday afternoon at 1.
All lanes are back open on Route 276 in Cecil County after a deadly crash early this morning. 26-year-old Dylan Edwards of Port Deposit was killed. He was driving a tractor trailer that left the road and crashed into a wooded area, hitting a power line support pole. An investigation continues right now. No other cars were involved.
A local drug kingpin and 9 other people are facing charges after officials say they uncovered a national drug trafficking scheme that was headquartered right here in the Baltimore region.
The Maryland Attorney General is calling it the biggest cocaine bust in Anne Arundel County Police Department's history.
Alexa Ashwell explains how investigators discovered the ring and the concerns that remain.
Images from what officials say is the largest cocaine bust in Anne Arundel County Police history. 18 kilograms of cocaine, an estimated $2 million street value, 400 grams of heroin, 360 grams of fentanyl, 67 pounds of cannabis, and 21 firearms. And at the center of it all, investigators say, is this man, Kingpin Clayton Mooring.
As a kingpin cocaine distributor in Anne Arundel County.
Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown, alongside Anne Arundel County Police and other officials, announcing charges against a total of 10 people as a result of this investigation that began back in July 2022. This indictment alleging how the national drug trafficking scheme was carried out. Investigators say Kingpin Mooring would use his business in Glen Burnie, Essential Freight LLC, as a stash house where he would receive, process, store, and distribute the drugs. His 9 co-defendants, investigators say, allegedly involved in parts of this process, including the distribution of the drugs into local communities. But where was Mooring getting the drugs? Brown says through an associate in Houston, Texas, with the help of the Mexican drug cartel.
Throughout the investigation, detectives intercepted numerous Wire communications revealing plans for cocaine purchases and the delivery of a vehicle containing cocaine. As soon as the call ended, the associate immediately traveled 6 hours south to the area of Brownsville, Texas, and contacted a known high-ranking member of the PRM drug gang that operates in that area. The PRM gang is a notorious and organized prison gang operating out of Mexico and Texas.
In April of this year, investigators say they intercepted that vehicle at Maureen's business. Here, images provided by the Attorney General showing the 17 kilograms of cocaine hidden in the seat cushions of a truck they say had been delivered from Texas. The scheme dismantled. But the impact of the poison pushed into local communities, investigators say, will likely remain.
These are not victimless crimes. These are sacred human beings with parents and siblings and children and friends who are all impacted by these criminals who selfishly inflict harm in our communities, in our homes, and in our lives.
Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
The Anne Arundel County Police Chief says the department is now working to see if any of the guns seized are connected to other crimes in the area. Of the 21 guns, officials say 2 had been reported stolen and 1 was a homemade or a ghost gun. Well, more money going into transportation in Howard County, but at the same time, some students are losing their school buses. Project Baltimore investigates what's going on.
How much do you have set aside for a rainy day? I'm Atrell Nashar with the top 3 things Americans say is getting in the way of a bigger savings account.
And a major announcement today as Baltimore prepares to welcome another year of Charm City Live, the big-name artist headlining the festival in August.
And I'm tracking showers around the region, and we're getting ready for more rain and potential storms tomorrow. I'll let you know the timing of the rain and what to expect for the weekend coming up in my full forecast.
Fox 45 News, nominated for 26 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other local news stations combined.
more interest rate increases are likely to come later this year.
That's according to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who just finished back-to-back appearances in Congress.
National correspondent Atra El-Nashar has more of what he said and what it means for your paycheck.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell making it clear fighting inflation is a marathon, not a sprint.
The strong majority of the committee feels that we're close, but there's a little further to go with rate hikes.
After 10 interest rate hikes since last spring, inflation is down to 4%. Their target rate is 2%. One clear sign of progress.
I believe now on a 12-month basis that overall wages are moving up faster than inflation.
Powell reiterating it will take time for the full effects of the rate increases to be felt by the broader economy. But each one has real-time impact on credit card rates, mortgages, and the unexpected.
Unplanned expenses are inevitable, and your emergency savings is the buffer between you and high interest rate debt when those unplanned expenses occur. And that's particularly important right now. Credit card rates are north of 20% on average.
But Bankrate's annual emergency savings report shows Americans are not getting much better at saving. Only 48% of adults say they have enough to cover 3 months' worth of expenses, an improvement of just 1 point from last year. What is improving significantly is how many Americans seem to recognize the importance of savings. Just 22% say they have no savings at all, a 13-year low.
And there's nothing like the economic gyrations of the last few years to really drive home that point.
What's keeping people from saving more money? Bankrate found the top 3 reasons are rising prices, rising interest rates, and changes in income or unemployment status. The labor market is still red hot with far more open jobs than there are people looking to fill them, but it is cooling a bit. On Thursday, we learned that new weekly jobless claims held steady at 264,000, according to the Labor Department. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
Deadly storms continue to hit the southern and central U.S. Last night, 4 people were killed in northern Texas after a tornado swept through. In the big box is what's left of one home. You can see it is completely destroyed. A major rescue and recovery effort is underway, but it won't be easy nor fast.
A town of this size, with such a small population, with the amount of damage that they experience, it's not only physical damage, but the economical and emotional impact that it will have on this town is very well significant.
Here at home, we're tracking a weather maker that continues to bring rain to our region. These are live pictures from Ocean City, Towson, and Baltimore. It's our second day now of lingering rain, and unfortunately, there's some more to come.
Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax here with a check of our forecast. Okay, I liked it yesterday. Are we sick of it all?
Yeah, kind of over it today.
Exactly.
The mist today, like you said, was not great.
Yeah, it's just been annoying. You walk outside and it's everywhere, but we'll have more rain tomorrow and the potential for storms. So get ready for, unfortunately, rain for the weekend that could have impacts on some of your plans. Right now, we are dealing with just a little bit of light drizzle. Temperatures currently in the mid-60s, so well below average once again. Notice on the HD radar, we're really not picking up on much because it is so light. The mist is very light around our state. Temperatures are mainly in the 50s and the 60s, well below average across the entire state. And overnight, our temperatures hover in the 50s and 60s, so not much change there. As we take a larger look around the region, you can see that low pressure system that's leading to rain around our area. The heaviest of rain remains to our south and also to our west, but we'll have a better chance for rain tonight and tomorrow as that low pressure system continues to lift north. Notice we start off with mostly cloudy and mostly dry skies for the night, but after midnight, we'll have off and on showers, and these continue into the morning. You may have a rainy commute driving through some areas of light or even moderate rain. Then by the afternoon, we have the chance for rain and the potential for storms. After that, this continues off and on overnight. We are looking at a few showers as we head into Saturday, and it looks to be on the lighter side, so not a complete washout for the day. But unfortunately, we've got the chance for showers and storms once again on Sunday, and then into the upcoming week. It's looking like next Thursday will be mostly dry, at least right now. Of course, that could change. We're keeping watch on Tropical Storm Brett, which continues to approach the Lesser Antilles. It is expected to weaken as it moves into the Caribbean. And there is another system. This is Tropical Depression 4. It's expected to strengthen into a tropical storm before weakening into a depression while remaining in the open Atlantic. We're not looking at much impact from that system. 65 for the low temperature with showers. Then tomorrow we're looking at highs much warmer and a little bit closer to average. We'll be in the upper 70s and the low 80s with showers and the potential for storms for the afternoon. After that, there's another chance for showers on Saturday at highs around 85. We're looking at the upper 80s and low 90s on Sunday and again on Monday. Temperatures will be in the low 80s on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we're looking at the mid 80s on Thursday with mostly dry weather. Back to you.
Thank you, Jasmine. We're monitoring breaking news as an all-day standoff continues right now in Federal Hill. A group of city residents are blocking BGE contractors from doing utility work, and those residents are being warned they could be arrested. Amy Simpson is standing by live to bring us any developments. And Amy, this is all over BGE, not really. Okay, we'll join Amy later when we get more information. Well, prepare to boogie Baltimore because Charm City Live is returning this summer, and today Mayor Scott announced a big artist coming.
Baltimore, I hope you're ready to slide through Charm City Live to see Academy, Emmy, and Grammy-winning recording artist Her, who will be our as you can see on the screen. So we know everyone's going to come out, so you better come early.
Yes, Her is the big name performing at Charm City Live. The festival is happening August 26th right in front of City Hall. There's going to be food trucks, retail spaces, and entertainment for all to enjoy. City leaders talking about the excitement leading up to the event.
The other part is it's in a part of our city where our restaurants are bumping and thriving, our hotels and the rest. You're right. People are coming in the day before to see Her. And so our hotels will be packed, our restaurants will be filled, our vendors who are participating. Make sure you bring enough, a lot, because people will be here, and that's what this is about.
Charm City Live is free, and the city is accepting applications for vendors through August 15th. Parents in Howard County complaining after their kids lost bus service. Project Baltimore is pushing for answers. Republican lawmakers are planning to introduce a bill that would create a National Women's Sports Week. The reason why?
A widely popular social media platform used by millions, drawing safety concerns. What makes it different, according to experts, and their advice for parents?
We're going to check in on the situation in Federal Hill. This is a live picture. We understand police just warned these protesters to disperse. A group of city residents is blocking BGE contractors from doing utility work, and those residents are being warned they could be arrested. You see Tharu Vignaraja talking with some of the police there. Police have given them 5 minutes. We're counting down with you live at this hour. Amy Simpson is there as well. She'll join us at 4:30 with the developments through going back to those residents, telling them what police are saying. We'll continue to monitor this. Well, a social media app used by millions is drawing safety and security concerns tonight. Experts say the platform your child could be using in your home could be prime ground for illegal activity. Dee Gatton with the National Desk explains.
Discord is a popular platform for gamers, people who want a space to share common interests, and according to the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, it's become a virtual meeting spot where sexual exploitation and abuse thrive.
I think Discord has gained popularity because there are so many youth that are online.
How much can I protect my child from a world they're going to live in?
Discord is advertised on its website as a chat app used by tens of millions of people ages 13 plus to talk and hang out with their communities.
It is something that has gained popularity primarily after COVID-19, or during the pandemic, I should say.
Underneath the surface, experts point to a dark side. Discord launched in 2015 and is now where exploiters go to groom children for sexual abuse or sex trafficking and to trade pornography, according to the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Recently, Discord said in a report it disabled more than 37,000 accounts for child safety violations in the fourth quarter of last year.
A lot of parents might have a technology contract. This is how you use the technology. If you minimize or you shelter a minor or a youth, they're just going to use their friend's phone or find a different way to communicate. And that's when things can get really dangerous.
Stricter age verification is an issue brought up on several social media platforms. Also, experts say because the channels on Discord are focused on interest groups, it can be easy to build trust. That's why they urge parents to talk to your child to identify what is a red flag for unsafe interaction online. Reporting for the National Desk, I'm Dee Gatton.
A consequential ruling from the state Supreme Court, why ballistic evidence will now be limited inside Maryland courtrooms. Howard County parents voicing concern as students find out they'll soon be walking to school. Project Baltimore questions the move, even as the school system spends more on transportation. And we continue to follow the breaking news of the day, the deadly end to the search for 5 people on their way to the ruins of the Titanic.
Some breaking news. Residents are being told to disperse or else be arrested after an all-day standoff in Federal Hill.
Fox 45's Amy Simpson live there with what's going on. Amy, tell us the very latest.
Maxine, Mary, these 3 demonstrators here in Federal Hill did just receive a second warning from Baltimore police officials. Let me show you what's happening now. They did receive that second warning. It appears they may be about to get a third warning of potential trespassing charges here in Federal Hill. Let's listen in for just a moment.
Again, you are in violation of criminal law Title 6, 304A, interference with public utility. Criminal law Title 6, 402A, trespassing on posted property. 6409, refusal to leave public grounds. You do not cease your unlawful behavior here in the corner block of Warren Avenue. Disperse peacefully, you will be arrested. The following routes of dispersal are available to you in any direction as long as you disperse the area. Yes, ma'am.
Officer, but those 3 that you cite,
arrests are going to commence if you do not disperse the area.
Those 3 that you cite,
Please leave. We don't want you
those
arrested.
3 are not actually things that we're doing. We're not tampering with utilities. We're not trespassing. There's no posted trespassing. There's no posted trespassing. And there's not a posted car. Do not touch me.
You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Don't touch me. Do not resist.
I don't know how they touch me. Show me where's the trespassing. Where is the trespassing sign? There's no trespassing. Where's the trespassing? Where's the trespassing? Where's the trespassing? I'm asking. Where's the trespassing? You're accusing us of breaking the law. Those laws.
Excuse me. I need you to back off. Thank you.
Happening right now in Federal Hill, we are watching 3 demonstrators here.
Media, out of the street as well.
We're being instructed to get out of the street at this time. Baltimore police are actively arresting 3 demonstrators here just across the street from Federal Hill Park who have been in a standoff all day with BGE utility crews. The 3 women here are going to be, it appears, put into a paddy wagon that's been back down Warren Ave here. They were read their charges 3 different times. This is a very fluid situation.
Ma'am, come on. We're not doing this. That is incredible.
We do know at least one of these women here who is being arrested right now is Claudia Tolles, who is running for the District 1 seat that Zeke Cohen currently holds. She is a resident here of this neighborhood.
She's in Fells Point because she's protesting all of this in Fells Point. That's where BGE started doing some of the work. And what this is all about, that's Claudia right there. BGE is coming into neighborhoods. They just did mine, and they are changing out these big gas valves, and they have decided, without telling residents much, that the valves have to be put outside of the homes. And for residents in Fed Hill and in Fells Point, they are right by their steps, and neighbors are concerned it creates a hazard, a danger, because they're so close to the sidewalk, they're so close to the roadway. And basically, BGE is coming in and doing this work, and these neighbors today blocked them and said, we want more information. And through Vigneraj is helping these people with a lawsuit. We see Claudia Tolles now being escorted into the police van.
Let's bring Amy Simpson back in as she's there on the scene watching as this has played out all day long. They've been protesting, Amy.
Yes, things have definitely escalated here in Federal Hill. I'm going to ask if Thuru Vignaraja could join us for a moment. He is legal representation for these demonstrators who are, some of them are from here in Federal Hill. He says he'll speak to us in just one moment. Thuru is representing some of these demonstrators here. There have been residents from different neighborhoods in Baltimore City who have come here today to demonstrate and protest this utility work that was planned to happen along this block of Warren Ave today. Some of them from Fells Point who have also experienced some of this utility work, a very fluid situation here in Federal Hill. It does appear that they're putting all 3 of these women into the back of a paddy wagon. Media was asked to take a step back, so we are respecting that and giving them some space. There are also about a dozen or so utility workers who are standing by filming this, watching this happen. They've been watching this unfold all afternoon. It has remained peaceful until just the last 10 to 15 minutes when these 3 women were warned 3 times to disperse. They were read a number of potential violations that they police said that they were infringing upon. One of them, I believe, was a trespassing issue. We will continue to monitor this, Mary, Maxine, and report back as we can.
All right, Amy, thank you. Live there on Warren Avenue in Federal Hill as we see the third resident getting some new cuffs and will be put in the police van and escorted, we think, downtown. We'll see.
Yeah, those plastic zip tie cuffs. We'll check back in with Amy shortly as we expect to hear from Thiru Vignarajah, who is representing them as soon as he is available. And some more breaking news to bring you. The 5 passengers on the Titanic-bound submersible believed to be dead and the craft imploded.
The U.S. Coast Guard says after 72 hours of searching, crews found the tail cone of the Titan submersible roughly 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the sea floor. Here's the officials addressing the search moments ago.
So essentially, we found 5 different major pieces of debris that told us that it was the remains of the Titan. The initial thing we found was the nose cone, which was outside of the pressure hull. We then found a large debris field. Within that large debris field, we found the front end bell of the pressure hull. That was the first indication that there was a catastrophic event.
All right, we are going to go back out to Fed Hill. Thiru Vignarajah is speaking about what happened there today. Let's listen in.
And for that, they got arrested. We don't have cops enough for carjackers and killers, but for 3 women that were trying to stand up for their community and protect the historic character of Baltimore, all of Baltimore, BG&E ought to be ashamed of itself, and this ought to be as clear a signal as anyone needs to see about the disproportionate power that this utility company has in the city, the way they abuse it, the way they have politicians on strings. It is, I've never seen anything like it. People have called around this city for years asking for open-air drug markets to be cleaned up, for carjackers and killers to be addressed, to be arrested. A platoon all day. There were, 20 officers, brass, rank and file, all out here today to make sure that BG&E can do its precious work of turning a paying citizen's gas off because he didn't want them to drill into his house.
All right, that is Thiru Vignarajah speaking out. He is representing some homeowners who are trying to fight BGE over their utility work. They're putting in new gas lines and they are putting gas meters on the outside of homes. And it looks like work is going to start up right now. Wait till you hear this again. My neighborhood just went through this. They drilled deep and it goes on for months. We will continue to follow this situation. We'll have a full report coming up next hour and also at 6 o'clock and on Fox 45 News at 10. But work is now underway now that 3 women have been arrested trying to protest and stop this very work from BGE. Well, a new ruling from the Maryland Supreme Court will change the way certain evidence can be presented in courtrooms across the state.
It all centers around ballistics. The Maryland Supreme Court has ruled firearms experts can no longer testify that a specific gun was used in a crime.
Joining us now is James Astrachan. He is a partner with Goodell DeVries. I hope I said all that right. You can correct me if I didn't. And he also teaches law at the University of Maryland. Thank you so much for coming into our studio tonight.
Glad to be here.
Well, the court found flaws in how reliable ballistics evidence can be, and this is looking at the science behind making these determinations. Is that correct?
It is. It is. It's interesting because it's a 100-year-old standard that is no longer a standard. So for 100 years, courts have heard this sort of testimony and allowed an expert to say that that is the gun from which the bullet was fired. Now the expert cannot say that. All the expert can say is that the markings on the bullet are consistent or inconsistent with that particular gun.
And walk us through the reasoning behind this court's ruling.
Well, there's really a one-word explanation, and that is reliability. You know, the question is whether or not the methodology that the experts use is accepted by other authorities and is reliable, and the court said it's not reliable. There is no acceptable standard yet, and that the determination that that is the gun to the exclusion of other guns is a subjective, not an objective determination that, in essence, would tend to damage the constitutional rights of the accused.
Interesting. Looking ahead, what is the possible fallout you see and the effect on cases? Will cases be overturned because of this?
It's possible because the court, if you look at cases where experts have testified that unqualified, that is the gun, which is what they can't do anymore, those cases could be revisited. Going into the future, I think what's going to happen, first of all, I don't think that juries are going to be really affected by an expert's testimony that it is consistent. It is more likely than not, I think they're going to make their own decisions as to whether it was the defendant's gun or it wasn't the defendant's gun. And I think that what's going to happen also is that various organizations, whether it's police or other groups, will start to develop more subjective or objective standards that experts in the future can use to provide more qualified, less qualified opinions.
Okay, very interesting stuff. We've been speaking with James Asterchan. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, an all-day standoff in Federal Hill is heating up tonight. Police just arrested 3 women blocking the area. BGE workers, and as you can see, work has now resumed. We'll be right back.
We continue an unsettled stretch of days with the chance for rain. We're also looking at below average temperatures today, but over the weekend, the rain chances stick around. but we are looking at rising numbers. Currently, though, we only sit at 66, and we've got some light rain outside. You may notice that as you step outside. We're not really picking up on that on the HD radar. It's very light, but you can see where the heaviest of rain is as we take a wider look around the region. We're keeping track of this low pressure system. As that continues to lift north, we'll have increased rain chances tonight. And then tomorrow, we're looking at the potential for a few storms during the afternoon. Current temperatures across the state are mostly in the 60s. Typically around this time of year, our highs are in the mid-80s, so certainly below average. Overnight, we'll drop to the 50s and 60s, staying pretty mild. We'll start with mostly dry weather around 10, 11 o'clock, but shortly after midnight, we'll have off and on showers, and we'll wake up to areas of rain tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, we'll have rain and the potential for storms. At times, the rain could be heavy. This does continue into the evening and overnight. It looks like we start off mostly dry on Saturday. However, a few stray showers cannot be ruled out, and we'll have the chance for more rain on Sunday. And even after that, the daily chance for showers and storms as we head into the first half of the upcoming week. It does look mostly dry on Thursday, but again, we can't rule out a stray shower. We're talking up to 3 inches of rain around the Baltimore area and less than 3 inches for other areas around the state, but this is going to help to improve those moderate drought conditions that we've been dealing with. We're also keeping watch on Tropical Storm Brett as it approaches Barbados. It is expected to move into the Caribbean, weakening. There's also Tropical Depression 4, which is expected to strengthen into a tropical storm tonight or tomorrow. It will continue to move over the open Atlantic before weakening to a tropical depression. Temperatures tonight drop to 65 with a chance for off and on showers. Then tomorrow we've got another round of rain and potential storms on the way. Our temperatures will be around 80. After that, we're looking at higher numbers, 85 on Saturday, then 89 on Sunday with a chance for more rain and storms. We'll be in the upper 80s once again on Monday with another chance for rain and storms. That's followed by the low 80s on Tuesday and again on Wednesday. We'll have the chance for showers on both days. Then it looks mostly dry on Thursday. Our temperatures will be in the mid-80s, closer to average. Back to you.
Okay, we're providing some more live pictures now from Fed Hill after 3 Baltimore residents were just arrested live on our air. They were blocking BGE workers from doing utility work. That standoff happening there all day long in this neighborhood. And as you can see, since they were arrested just about 15 minutes ago, BGE workers quickly got to work in their neighborhood. Demonstrators say 4 homes had their gas shut off yesterday as some homeowners refused to let BGE install external gas regulators. We will have more live developments on this story coming up at 5. This weekend marks 1 year since the Supreme Court overturned a constitutional protection for abortion. Since then, states have been the main decision makers. 25 states enacted laws to ban or restrict abortion. That means about 25 million women of childbearing age live in states where it's harder to get an abortion than before the ruling. A promising new cancer trial is now available to patients anywhere in the country, right in their own homes. Medical reporter Liz Bonas shares how it's expanding hope for patients who need a personal prescription to survive.
Hey there, everybody. What started out a few years ago as what's called a basket trial, which is used to fight multiple kinds of cancer, now being expanded to help others in a whole new way.
It looks like there's only one thing that can give us hope.
As Doug Hull found out, it was originally only available at one place in Ohio. So from his home in Florida, when he ran out of options for treating his pancreas cancer, he got on a plane and flew to the Ohio State Comprehensive Cancer Center. The center provided this video.
If there's anything that I can do that will change that feeling of no hope, I'm all in.
Doug got that hope when Dr. Samik Roy-Chowdhury enrolled him in the basket trial. It's testing what are called smart drugs.
A smart drug, the way we describe it, really hones in on a specific protein that's in the cancer, and it could be found in other parts of the body, but it's sort of a heat-seeking missile to something that's more unique to the cancer.
That specific protein is called FGFR, or fibroblast growth factor receptor. In those who have a cancer that is FGFR positive, the SMART drugs show promise in finding and killing cancer cells. But after 8 years of in-house trials,
what we've seen is some pretty remarkable responses in patients with pancreas cancer.
in fact, Doug is now 3 years out and doing so well that the Ohio State researchers now want to offer this trial to anyone with advanced pancreatic cancer. The treatment will be available through a first-of-its-kind, entirely telehealth-based cancer clinical trial, so patients can receive treatment and follow-up from the comfort of their own home.
We're planning for 40 patients over a couple years.
It's like there's a whole new world. I get goosebumps.
We have those goosebumps, too. This trial will work in conjunction with community providers, but be managed by Ohio State remotely. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus. Now back to you.
More seniors getting scammed. Next, why it's becoming easier for crooks to take advantage of consumers. More and more seniors are falling victim to scammers, and some eye-popping numbers reveal just how bad the problem is getting. Steve McCarran with our Sinclair sister station in Washington explains why a few simple pieces of information can make you a much easier target.
The FBI's numbers are staggering. According to the annual Elder Fraud Report, nearly 90,000 people aged 60 and older filed scam claims last year. And get this, total losses reported by that age group hit $3.1 billion. That's an increase of 84% from 2021. And the average loss per victim, more than $35,000. Financial planner Adam Powell tells me in many cases, those con artists are very tough to identify.
They are so manipulative, and they're professionals. Their goal is to be like your bank or to be like a financial institution, or even worse, to feel like it's a loved one calling you.
According to the National Council on Aging, these are the top 5 financial scams targeting older adults. Government imposter scams, that's where someone pretends to be from the IRS, the Social Security Administration, or Medicare. Sweepstakes and lottery scams are also a big concern, along with robocalls and phone scams, computer tech support scams, and the so-called grandparent scam. That's when someone impersonates a grandchild and asks for money to solve some urgent financial problem.
And the scammers don't need much information.
Exactly right. Very, very basic. And then if you don't have your guard up and you are already in it, maybe and each not prepared for the call or for the outreach on an email or a random instant message, you can easily fall into that trap very quickly.
To help protect your loved ones, Powell says make sure they have a trusted contact that they can reach out to if someone asks them to send money. Also, work with your bank, especially as you enter retirement. Financial institutions like BECU have recently posted warnings on their websites saying they're seeing an increase in scammers spoofing their phone number and impersonating the credit union. Steve Buchanan, KOMO News.
Our unsettled pattern continues this weekend. Tomorrow, we're looking at the chance for rain and storms. Temperatures will be higher than what we have today. We're looking at the low 80s, then the mid 80s on Saturday with another chance for scattered showers and potential storms. Unfortunately, the rain chances do continue on Sunday, but temperatures will be higher, making it feel more like summer. We'll be in the upper 80s and low 90s. The rain continues after that. I'll let you know how long to expect rain and how much we could see in my full forecast in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 5, we're following the BGE protest outside of Federal Hill, where 3 protesters were arrested. We'll have a live report in just a few minutes. And Fox 45 News is demanding answers about former Police Commissioner Michael Harrison's future after we found he's still on the payroll days after his resignation. What the mayor is saying about it. He's out as commissioner, but still on the payroll, pressing city leaders for answers on the situation for former Commissioner Michael Harrison.
Breaking news, Baltimore police arresting protesters fighting BGE. The latest from Federal Hill tonight.
Plus, the search for the Ocean Gate submersible is over. What we're learning about what officials call a catastrophic implosion.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 5.
We are following the breaking news of the past 20 minutes. BGE contractors have begun their work in Federal Hill after an all-day standoff ends with arrests of 3 women residents. Police arrested those women for refusing to let BGE contractors start some utility work. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Maxine Stryker. The demonstrators say 4 homes had their gas shut off yesterday as some homeowners refused to let BGE install external gas regulators. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has been monitoring the protests and subsequent arrests all day and has those very tense moments. Amy?
Yeah, tense is a great way to describe it, Maxine. Those arrests happening just about 30 minutes ago, and you can see those BGE, we believe they're contractors. These utility crews have already begun their work here on Warren Ave. We are just next to Federal Hill Park, overlooking the Inner Harbor in Federal Hill. The crews began their work within, I would say, 60 seconds of those women being put into the back of that paddy wagon here. We'll show some video of those arrests happening as well. And we did speak to Through Vignaraja, who is the attorney representing these women, these demonstrators here in Federal Hill. He told me just 5 minutes ago that the intent is to still move forward with filing a temporary restraining order as they are looking to have BGE stop this utility work that's not only happening here in Federal Hill, but they say in neighborhoods all across the city. Take a listen.
We don't have cops enough for carjackers and killers, but for 3 women that were trying to stand up for their community and protect the historic character of Baltimore, all of Baltimore, BG&E ought to be ashamed of itself.
So again, this utility work is happening here in Federal Hill, and Through Vignaraja said they will move forward with that temporary restraining order. It sounds like they may be filing as soon as sometime tomorrow. We will keep you posted as we learn more about that.
And Amy, many are saying this is a PR nightmare for BGE. Is BGE on the scene? Have you been able to talk to them?
So we have seen some BGE officials or workers here on scene today, though our channels of communicating with the utility company are a little bit different. So my communication has been through email and through phone today. They did send us a lengthy statement earlier this afternoon, standing by the fact that they say that these external regulators that they're installing in communities across Baltimore are part of work to modernize its gas infrastructure and improve safety of gas delivery. Also saying in part today that the residents interfered with their scheduled work in Federal Hill by purposefully entering an active work site. This action put our contractors at risk of injury. We safely stopped work to allow the proper authorities to intervene, and will continue our work when it is safe to do so. Now, we did arrive on scene here about 10 o'clock this morning. We're told that those demonstrators arrived about 7 a.m., so we do not know at this point what time these contractors arrived. However, we did not see these utility workers doing any active work today while we've been here. We have also not seen these protesters interact or interfere with any of that BGE equipment or its crews. Again, very fluid situation here. We'll continue to keep you posted. Mary, Maxine, back to you.
We cannot discuss someone's personal things in the public.
Well, former police commissioner Michael Harrison is out of the office but remains on the city's payroll. The mayor confirming today, despite Harrison's sudden departure, his $275,000 salary remains intact. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor joins us now live from City Hall, demanding accountability for your tax dollars. Rebecca?
Yeah, Mary, we now know that city taxpayer dollars, they are still paying for Harrison's salary. But when I asked just how long will city residents be footing the bill for a former city employee, Mayor Scott remaining tight-lipped.
2 weeks ago,
Good morning.
Michael Harrison abruptly announcing his departure from the department.
This was the most opportune time
for me to pass the torch.
But today, the mayor confirming the former commissioner still cashing checks from the city.
His salary is something that's public information.
And yet, how long that salary will last isn't.
But so will he be paid till the end of his contract?
He will be paid in accordance with the contract and how he's leaving the city of Baltimore. We cannot discuss a personnel matter in public about someone's contract, and we cannot do that. It's an HR issue.
According to Harrison's contract, if Harrison's fired without just cause, the city will pay the remaining 8 months of his 5-year contract, totaling about $180,000 taxpayer dollars. But if Harrison resigns, he's required to give 90 days notice and is not entitled to severance pay. However, when asked to disclose the details of Harrison's exit,
he told to me when he came here that he wanted to hand it off to someone here, local, homegrown within the police department. That is the decision that was made, and we're going to keep saying that because it's the truth.
But why make it?
Next.
The mayor cutting us off and refusing to answer questions after the press conference. So he sent follow-up questions to his office, asking for clarity. Was Harrison asked to resign, or did he resign on his own accord? And if it was his decision, why resign 8 months before his contract ended? As of Newstime Tonight, no response.
That's why taxpayers don't trust politicians.
Taxpayer advocate David Williams arguing because Harrison's salary is paid with public dollars, how long he's paid and for what services should be public as well.
This is transparency 101. You're talking about someone who isn't working anymore and is just sitting at home getting the salary, and a very generous salary at that.
The questions linger as Harrison's wife posts this cryptic image to social media, a photo of Harrison smirking over a chessboard, stating no caption needed.
In other words, he made a chess move.
But political analyst John Deedy skeptical of the move's timing and who truly made it.
I think Mayor Scott had a hand in this. You have an election coming up next year. In many ways, having him leave early and bringing a new person in, you're kind of hitting the reset button.
The appearance of a fresh slate brought by a new face to public safety in a city still plagued by violence.
Now, another question that we asked the mayor's office was, when was Harrison's official last day with the city? And we also asked when acting Commissioner Worley's confirmation hearing will be scheduled. But again, as of Newsroom Tonight, I've not heard back. Reporting live from City Hall, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Rebecca, thank you. Police are investigating a shooting tonight after finding a man who was shot 2 days ago. According to police, just after 8, officers responded to a scene on Maryland Avenue in North Baltimore. A 28-year-old had been shot in the head. The victim told officers that he was actually shot on Tuesday, just blocks away from where he was found. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Anybody with information on the shooting should contact Baltimore police. Well, according to Baltimore police, 129 people have been killed this year in the city. 293 have survived being shot. While both of those numbers are down from last year, there are growing concerns over a crime spike this summer. And new tonight, lawyers for Adnan Syed are requesting the state Supreme Court deny a petition from the family of Hayman Lee. It is the latest in a series of filings going back and forth between Syed and the Lee family. Last year, Syed was released from prison when the Baltimore State's Attorney's Office requested his conviction for Lee's murder be vacated. It was then reinstated after an appellate court ruled the Lee's family's victims' rights had been violated during the legal process.
A live look now at the weather conditions across the state. You're looking at the Inner Harbor, Towson, Ocean City, traffic cameras across the state, and our weather radar. We have been seeing on and off showers for days now, and more could be on the way tonight. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is in now with the very latest. Jasmine?
Yeah, it has been another very gray and gloomy day. Now, we didn't see as much rain as we had yesterday, but we do have more on the way. Outside right now, mostly cloudy skies around the state, but we do have a little bit of very light drizzle. You'll notice temperatures well below average. Highs or current temperatures only in the 60s at this time. As we take a larger look around the region, you can see where most of the rain is to our south and to our west, closer to the center of that low pressure system. As that lifts north, we'll have a better chance for rain tonight and tomorrow. We even have the potential for storms heading into the weekend. I'll let you know the timing of the rain and how much we could see in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Just download the free WBFF Weather Authority app for your smartphone and use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. Just go to your app store and search for WBFF to get started.
The debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families.
A tragic end to the search for the Titan submersible. The Coast Guard and OceanGate saying the entire crew has died. Officials say they recovered debris from the sub not far from the remains of the Titanic, leading them to believe the vessel imploded in the ocean. As we said, all of the crew members have died, and that includes OceanGate's CEO, who helped design the craft, and 4 other passengers. On the ocean floor today, a remote-operated rover found the Titan's tail cone along with pieces of the hull.
On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time.
The Coast Guard says it is still not clear what exactly caused the ship to implode.
18 kilograms of cocaine worth more than $2 million. What we're learning about the biggest drug bust in Anne Arundel County history.
Concerns over the city budget, current and future, breaking down the city's financial future as it faces a declining population and dwindling federal funds.
And we're still waiting for a key Supreme Court ruling tonight, the latest on the court's latest decisions and when it could reach a ruling on student debt forgiveness.
The U.S. Supreme Court issues 2 new opinions today. The first is a ruling against the Navajo Nation in its Colorado River water rights case. The tribe sought an assessment of its water needs and a plan to meet them. States that draw from the river argued that a decision for Navajo Nation would disrupt its management. In another case, the court ruled against a man who received a lengthy jail sentence for violating a federal gun law, which he says he didn't know he had broken. We're still waiting tonight, though, for the court's decision on the president's student loan forgiveness plan. This weekend marks 1 year since the Supreme Court overturned a constitutional protection for abortion. Since then, states have been the main decision makers. 25 states enacted laws to ban or restrict abortion. It's not clear exactly how many abortions have happened across the country since the court decision, with gaps in data and reporting lags.
And in a rare field hearing, the National Transportation Safety Board is in East Palestine, Ohio, to examine the decisions made after February's fiery derailment of a Norfolk Southern train.
I want to express our sincere regrets and for the entire community who continues to experience a significant tragedy.
The hearing is focusing on the controlled release of vinyl chloride, sending a plume of black smoke over the town and prompting evacuations. Residents remain concerned about the lingering health effects of those fumes, though air and water samples show the region is safe. The town's fire chief said he only had 13 minutes to make that call. The board says it will make recommendations based off what they learn in the hearing to prevent similar incidents.
Taking a live look outside now at the Inner Harbor and Towson. We are still tracking dreary, rainy weather across Maryland, and we could be in for some more rain tonight. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax live now with the very latest. So a couple more days of this through our weekend. Yes.
Unfortunately, through the weekend and even into the first half of next week. So a long stretch of days with rain, but we do need it. It is going to help to improve some of the drought conditions around the state. We are, though, dealing with lower temperatures, 67 currently, with areas of rain outside. It's on the lighter side. We're really not picking up on that light drizzle, but we are seeing some more areas of rain south, including Virginia and in western Maryland, some areas of rain there. And it's closer to this low pressure system. As that lifts north, we'll have a better chance for rain, and it all starts tonight, continuing tomorrow and over the next few days. Current temperatures are mainly in the 60s around the state. Overnight, we'll drop to the 50s and the low 60s. Then by the afternoon, we'll have higher temperatures, but unfortunately, we'll also have rain and storms. Around 10, 11 o'clock, we're still mostly cloudy, but showers move in after midnight, and these will continue off and on into the morning. You may be waking up to areas of rain and driving through light rain tomorrow morning, so be sure to drive safely. By the afternoon, we'll have rain and storms. At times, there could be areas of heavy rain. This continues throughout the evening with a few showers overnight, and then possibly into Saturday, we'll have some other areas of rain. Then on Sunday, another round of showers and potential storms on the way. Rain chances will be there through the middle of the week, and then it looks mostly dry on Thursday. However, that could change. We're looking at up to 3 inches of rain around the Baltimore area, less than 2.5 inches for other spots around the state, but all of this is going to help to improve those drought conditions. Meanwhile, we're keeping watch on Tropical Storm Brett as it nears Barbados. It is expected to enter the Caribbean after that, weakening. We're keeping watch on Tropical Depression 4, which is expected to strengthen into a tropical storm before weakening over the open Atlantic. Temperatures drop to 65 tonight with showers. Then tomorrow, rain and storms. High temperatures around 80 degrees. That's much higher than our temperatures today, but still below average. We'll be in the mid-80s as we head into Saturday, then the upper 80s and the low 90s on Sunday with another round of showers and storms. 89 again to start the work week. Then after that, temperatures in the low 80s on Tuesday and Wednesday with a chance for showers and storms on both days. After that, we're looking at the mid-80s on Thursday. We will have mostly dry weather then. However, we can't rule out a stray shower. Back to you.
Members of the Baltimore City Council joined Baltimore's Promise and other community groups to kick off the start of Field Trip Fridays. The program offers hundreds of kids in the Baltimore area the opportunity to take field trips to local institutions and destinations throughout the summer. Local leaders say outreach programs like these are critical.
When our children have a place to be that is safe, that is stable, that has cultural enrichment, that they don't get into trouble, they don't get into violence. And in a summer where we've seen just far too much youth violence, we thought it was incredibly important to pull in some new partners to make sure our kids have a place to be on Fridays.
Field trip options will include the National Aquarium, Maryland Science Center, the Maryland Zoo, and the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. Take a look at this. You're taking a look at the annual law enforcement torch run to benefit the Special Olympics. Runners lined up for the 3-mile torch run in front of the Public Safety Building in Towson today. This marks 37 years that Baltimore County Police and athletes with the Special Olympics Maryland have partnered to support this fundraiser. Is the city's budget sustainable? The growing concerns over the future as federal funds run out.
The Biden administration missing an important deadline to release information on the origins of COVID-19. I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington with why senators say they're frustrated.
The Biden administration missed the deadline to release documents on the origins of COVID-19, violating a law the president signed in March. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins is in Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are waiting and growing frustrated.
The COVID-19 Origin Act inspired a rare moment of unity on Capitol Hill.
Rarely do we pass something unanimously in the Senate, unanimously in the House. Biden signed the legislation.
The bill, passed in March, requires the Biden administration to declassify and release intelligence they have related to the origin of COVID-19. The deadline to hand over the documents was last Sunday. Senator Josh Hawley introduced the bill.
It's not please, it is the law. They have to declassify the information. What are you afraid of? Why are you so afraid of letting the public know the truth?
Senator Rand Paul believes these documents may further support the lab leak theory, adding to mounting evidence COVID-19 has a man-made origin.
The lab in Wuhan for a week went dark. and they think that maybe an accident happened and they were trying to clean it up. About that same time, 3 researchers got sick.
Last week, a report identified these researchers as patients 0, all 3 involved in controversial research on coronaviruses. The journalists cite unnamed U.S. officials. The Government Accountability Office also recently confirming U.S. taxpayer money helped fund the Wuhan lab.
But why do you think it's been so difficult to get your hands on this information?
Well, I think that they feel somewhat guilty as having funded research that may have led to the pandemic.
Paul says seeing this intelligence is crucial because similarly dangerous research is still going on.
My fear is that the next time this happens, there are viruses that could kill half of the population that they're experimenting with. This is a big deal. This is as dangerous and significant as nuclear weapons, and we're not paying any attention to it.
Senator Paul and Senator Hawley tell us they've received no communication from the White House so far on this delay, and they're continuing to press the administration to release the intelligence. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
A new report is highlighting alarming trends across the nation when it comes to health care. The report looks at all 50 states and the District of Columbia on 58 measures of health outcomes, equity, and affordability. Researchers say they found a surge in preventable deaths in every state, largely driven by COVID-19 deaths. It also reported medical debt was an issue for millions of people, particularly in the South. According to the study, medical debt amounts to a total of $88 billion nationwide. A state Supreme Court ruling will have a massive impact on murder trials in Maryland. Why some ballistics evidence will no longer be admissible in court.
The high cost of childcare. I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. A new report breaks down that number and advocates taking their fight to Congress.
The AG announcing the largest cocaine bust in Anne Arundel County history. We're breaking down details on the operation and how police shut it down. State and federal officials reveal the details of a major drug bust in Anne Arundel County.
The Attorney General announcing a string of indictments and the biggest cocaine seizure in the county's history. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell has the details.
Images from what officials say is the largest cocaine bust in Anne Arundel County Police history. 18 kilograms of cocaine, an estimated $2 million street value, 400 grams of heroin, 360 grams of fentanyl, 67 pounds of cannabis, and 21 firearms. And at the center of it all, investigators say, is this man, Kingpin Clayton Mooring.
As a kingpin cocaine distributor in Anne Arundel County.
Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown, alongside Anne Arundel County Police and other officials, announcing charges against a total of 10 people as a result of this investigation that began back in July 2022. This indictment alleging how the national drug trafficking scheme was carried out. Investigators say Kingpin Mooring would use his business in Glen Burnie, Essential Freight LLC, as a stash house where he would receive, process, store, and distribute the drugs. His 9 co-defendants, investigators say, allegedly involved in parts of this process, including the distribution of the drugs into local communities. But where was Mooring getting the drugs? Brown says through an associate in Houston, Texas, with the help of the Mexican drug cartel.
Throughout the investigation, detectives intercepted numerous wire communications revealing plans for cocaine purchases and the delivery of a vehicle containing cocaine. As soon as the call ended, the associate immediately traveled 6 hours south to the area of Brownsville, Texas, and contacted a known high-ranking member of the PRM drug gang that operates in that area. The PRM gang is a notorious and organized prison gang operating out of Mexico and Texas.
In April of this year, investigators say they intercepted that vehicle at Mooring's business. Here, images provided by the Attorney General showing the 17 kilograms of cocaine hidden in the seat cushions of a truck they say had been delivered from Texas. The scheme dismantled. But the impact of the poison pushed into local communities, investigators say, will likely remain.
These are not victimless crimes. These are sacred human beings with parents and siblings and children and friends who are all impacted by these criminals who selfishly inflict harm in our communities, in our homes, and in our lives.
Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
And the police chief says the department is now working to see if any of the guns seized are connected to other crimes in the area. Of the 21 guns, officials say 2 had been reported stolen and 1 was a homemade or a ghost gun.
Police are investigating a deadly Cecil County crash tonight. Just after 2 this morning, state police responded to a scene with downed power lines along Jacob Tome Memorial Highway. According to police, 26-year-old Dylan Edwards was driving a tractor-trailer northbound and veered off the road, hitting a power line support pole. Edwards died in the crash. No other vehicles were involved. The cause of the accident is still under investigation.
Well, roads have gotten more deadly in Maryland in the past 3 years. According to a new report, the fatality rate in crashes statewide is up 16% from 2019. Crashes contributed to more than $29 billion in damages in 2022 alone. The spike in Maryland follows the national trend.
The Inspector General in Baltimore County is out with a new report that says a roofing company lied about its arrangement with a minority-owned company to secure a nearly $2 million contract. The county wanted 25% of the contract to go to minority businesses. The report says the company told the county the minority-owned business it was working with would get about $450,000 of the contract. In reality, it only gave the business a little less than $41,000 of work, which is about 2% of the contract. The OIG's office says the company submitted false information to the county about how much work the minority business was really getting.
Some new details as we learn gun experts are no longer allowed to testify in court that a specific gun was used in a crime. The Maryland Supreme Court ruling that ballistics evidence is not as rock solid as previously thought. The decision comes after an appeal from a man convicted of murder based in part on testimony from a firearms expert. In its decision, the court said while ballistic analysis can provide some information about the type of gun that fired the bullet, recent research shows it is not able to connect a single bullet to a single gun. Today, we spoke with an expert about the impact this ruling could have.
I think that what's going to happen also is that various organizations, whether it's police or other groups, will start to develop more subjective or objective standards that experts in the future can use to provide more less qualified opinions.
Well, the specific murder case the court was hearing will now be sent back to Prince George's County Circuit Court for a new trial.
Let's take a live look outside as we continue to track a weather maker in our area. The clouds hanging over Maryland have brought on and off rain for days now. You're looking at the Inner Harbor, Towson, our weather radar, and Ocean City right now. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is live now with the latest.
It is just very gray and gloomy. We're dealing with some very light drizzle outside. But as you drive on the roads, you may notice that. Make sure that you're driving safely. Most of the rain that we are seeing, though, is in western Maryland and just in Virginia. It's closer to the center of that low pressure system. We'll continue to have increased rain chances tonight and then tomorrow, but the rain is going to be beneficial. Much of Maryland under a moderate or even severe drought. The severe drought is for areas in that darker orange, including Baltimore City. The rain will help to improve those conditions. I'll let you know how much rain we could see, and I'll break down the timing of the rain coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Download the free WBFF Weather Authority app for your smartphone and use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. Just go to your app store and search for WBFF to get started.
Turning now to concerns over the city budget, current and future.
The mayor signed the fiscal year 2024 budget this week, one of the biggest in recent city history. But is it sustainable, and what does the future hold for a city that's already lost so much of its population and tax base?
David Williams with the Taxpayer Protection Alliance joins us now. David, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Spending is up 22% from 3 years ago as part of this $4.4 billion budget, with a lot of ARPA money being used to cover these additional costs. Some might say, why not use it, while others warn that money will run out?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And therein lies the problem, is that spending is up. Baltimore City got this huge infusion of cash from the federal government, $641 million, and they're spending it like crazy. And what they're doing is this money runs out in 2 years. But if you look at Monzi, they already have this money spent past the 2 years, and that's going to put a huge financial burden on the city. And then you look at other areas like the Kerwin Commission, the education spending. This was, as the mayor said, a gut punch to the city, because they're going to have to spend $79 million more this year on the Kerwin Commission and education. They were expecting about $12 million. So this is a lot of bad news for a city that really can't afford bad news when it comes to spending. And again, this is really going to put a lot of pressure on the city this year, and I think years to come, quite frankly.
And David, in addition to money going to city agencies like Monzi to beef up salaries at City Hall, in some cases by tens of thousands of dollars for a single high-level position. As you mentioned, the mayor called the Kerwin School funding plan a gut punch for this year. So what happens next year and the year after that?
That is the billion-dollar question, because we don't know. And I think there's going to be a bit of a panic, because what if that Kerwin Commission funding goes up? And let's talk about the red line, is that there could potentially be city money going towards the red line. And that could be hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's going to put another hole in the city's budget when it comes to transportation, because when you spend money, so much money on one project, you're taking away money from other projects. Just drive around the city, hit a few potholes, see the infrastructure that is crumbling. People are going to get frustrated that one project is going to get potentially hundreds of millions of dollars, and the rest of the city is going to suffer from that. So these are really tough decisions. And next year is an election year, so it's going to be interesting to see how the mayor copes with the budgetary pressures that are going to face the city.
He won't have those Fed dollars. All right, David Williams, thank you so much for joining us tonight and answering some of our questions on this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, don't miss our next Your Voice, Your Future town hall tonight at 7. Armstrong Williams sits down with former Mayor Sheila Dixon to talk about the state of Baltimore City and ways to make improvements. It is live tonight at 7 on FOX45.com. You can also watch it right here this Saturday night at 6 on the CW Baltimore Saturday at 3 and on MyTV Sunday afternoon at 1.
It's no secret to parents that childcare is extremely expensive. A new report breaks down just how expensive. The National Desk's Angela Brown reports.
The numbers are simply stunning. A new report revealing childcare costs have gone up 220% since 1990, outpacing inflation. The 2023 Kids Count data book revealing what most parents already know. Childcare costs crippling families financially. Reporting the average American family is now spending $10,600 for one child for child care in 2021. Struggling parents turning to the Child Care Law Center for answers.
What are mothers telling you? Mothers are telling us that it's impossible to afford child care as well as housing, rent.
The Kids Count data book breaks down affordability by state or region. Washington, D.C., the highest center-based child care cost for a toddler, over $24,000. On the lower end, West Virginia, at nearly $8,000. But both areas are facing similar challenges.
There's not enough staff. There's not enough child care centers. We need to grow and we need to meet the demand.
Finding a fix to make child care more affordable is challenging. Groups like the Child Care Law Center are pushing Congress.
Is there one that you're targeting right now? One law we're trying to pass right now is called the Child Care for Working Families Act. It's in Congress.
Here's that bill. It includes capping the cost of child care at 7% of income and offering subsidies to raise wages for child care workers. A 2022 poll from First 5 Years Fund found that nearly 3 in 5 Republican voters and 4 in 5 Democratic voters agree the federal government needs to take action. The question for many is how to do it and who pays for it. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
What does the I-95 collapse tell us about infrastructure nationwide?